So there's a clip about Julian Assange on MSNBC, which Glenn posted. And now, I wanted to do a segment on this. I saw that Glenn already did one, apparently, and he said there were 4 lies in this video. I counted much more, so I was already counting them. I made a whole list. I'm going to play this to you, and I'm going to stop it every time they lie, and I'm going to debunk it. Okay, let's take a look.
The politics of this, as a prosecutor, you're given this case, and you've got a guy who's stolen thousands of documents.
Okay, first lie. 3 seconds in, he's already lying. So Julian Assange never stole any documents. He was given documents, okay? He was given documents by Chelsea Manning, and then, of course, WikiLeaks has published other things. But what Julian Assange is being tried for, right? He's being tried for possession, publishing, of classified documents. These are standard journalistic practices. He was given the documents. He didn't steal anything. Now, there's one charge, which is conspiracy to commit computer hacking. But again, this is a bogus charge. It hasn't been proven. And he wasn't, the documents that they're talking about here, the Iraq war logs, Afghan war diary, they were given to Assange. They were not stolen. So if 3 seconds in, they're already lying. And keep in mind, this is right after the High Court ruling last week, right? So again, I've been covering the whole Assange thing, and I was there. I already talked about all this, but this is their reaction. They're basically gloating. Take a look at the next lie.
Pages of highly classified national security documents.
Okay, what does that mean, highly classified? The things that Chelsea Manning gave to Julian Assange. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something over here. The New York Times did an article once about how things are classified, and they said that what Chelsea Manning gave to WikiLeaks was not top secret, it was secret or confidential. Now, secret is the second highest classification, so I don't know if it counts as highly classified, but it's not top secret. And that's something that was pointed out during the trial, the extradition hearing, I should say. Let's keep going.
Release them to the world, and in so doing, put the lives of U.S. troops, of people who were working with the United States, allies, collaborators in war zones, in the gravest of danger.
No, he didn't. This is a lie. This is it's a lie. How do I know it's a lie? Because the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, they set up a task force specifically to investigate one thing. Did WikiLeaks publications harm collaborators, U.S. forces, all the people that Joe in his clip just mentioned? And what was the answer? No. So here's an article from The Guardian, published in 2013. They say Bradley Manning leak did not result in deaths by enemy forces, the court hears. Okay? And let me read you the first paragraph. The U.S. counterintelligence official who led the Pentagon's review into the fallout from the WikiLeaks disclosures of state secrets told the Bradley Manning sentencing hearing on Wednesday that no instances were ever found of any individual killed by enemy forces as a result of having been named in the releases. So the Pentagon couldn't find one goddamn person who's harmed by these releases. So I don't know what this guy's lying. Joe is lying. He is flat out lying through his goddamn teeth. He's either extremely ignorant or he's lying. But what he's saying is untrue. It's completely untrue. It's fabricated. And it's not me saying that. It's the Pentagon saying that. Okay? Let's go to the next lies.
Under any scenario, you take politics out of it, and this is an open and shut case. This is not the Pentagon.
How can you take politics out of it? Now again, this is a bit more debatable, but the whole indictment is political. You're charging a journalist with the Espionage Act as a spy. I mean, this is the most classic textbook move. This is fascism 101. This is authoritarianism 101. You go after a journalist who publish things you don't like and call them a spy. That's political by definition. Every human rights organization, every journalist organization, every journalistic organization on the face of the planet has called this indictment political because it is. It is political. Pay attention to the next one. He just can't go 5 seconds without lying. It's absolutely incredible.
Case, this is not the Pentagon Papers. This wasn't Times editors.
Oh my God. This wasn't the Pentagon Papers. Well, you know who released the Pentagon Papers? Daniel Ellsberg. And I'm sorry to tell you, but Daniel Ellsberg agrees that there is no tangible difference between his publications and Assange's. How do I know this? Because he testified. He testified at Assange's extradition hearing. I'm reading you from my coverage. Daniel Ellsberg, who released the Pentagon Papers, Ellsberg says he sees no tangible difference between his publications and Assange's. He views WikiLeaks' work as a public service crucial in combating misinformation and government lies. There is no evidence to suggest that WikiLeaks harmed anyone. So the guy who released the Pentagon Papers, which Joe is talking about here, himself says there is no difference between his work, between the Pentagon Papers, and what WikiLeaks released. So where is he getting this from? Where is he getting this from? Because Daniel Ellsberg says otherwise. And by the way, when I reported that day, because I was doing day-by-day coverage of the Assange thing, Daniel Ellsberg commended my reporting. So I'm not getting anything wrong here. I'm telling you that's what he said. And that's how he said it at the court, at the Old Bailey.
Editors rifling through documents, editors rifling Pentagon Papers. This wasn't Times editors rifling through documents, figuring out what could be released and what couldn't be released. And
Christ, again, every word coming out of his mouth is a lie. He says this wasn't Times editors, meaning New York Times editors rifling through the papers. It literally was. What are you talking about? WikiLeaks literally partnered with the New York Times for the Afghan war diary. Like, he's so bad at, like, everything he says is literally the exact opposite. It's not even close. It's just the complete exact opposite of reality. It was literally Times editors rifling through the pages. The New York Times had about a month to look at the Afghan war diaries, and they were a media partner with WikiLeaks, just like The Guardian, just like Presse, I think Spiegel as well, Le Monde. All these big outlets partnered with WikiLeaks to go through these documents and to redact them. Again, what is he saying?
Explaining it. This was a guy that got stolen documents and gave it to the world.
And now he changes what he was saying at the beginning. He says that he stole the documents, and now he says he got the documents and gave them to the world. Yeah, so he's a publisher. And I mean, that's probably the only right thing he said in the whole video. And by the way, on the point that, this was so callous and careless, and they basically looked through the documents without editing anything. They just published, they just dumped it. Complete lie, a complete lie. Here are all the people who testified at the extradition hearing who worked with WikiLeaks, who are not from WikiLeaks. They're from other publications. They're from other, they're media partners who worked on these things. And they talked about this specific point about redaction. How exhausting it was because they were redacting so much. Okay, so Goetz, this is a journalist who worked at Spiegel, which is a very big German paper, and he said that Assange and WikiLeaks did everything they could to redact and were not responsible for the passwords being leaked. Okay, now here, this is from Sloboda. Sloboda is from Iraq Body Count, right? So he said that there was a strict redaction system in place in order not to reveal sensitive information. In fact, over-redaction had to be corrected in most cases, a painstaking process, but they did it nonetheless. Assange did not bow to pressure to publish until redaction process was complete. So they were over-redacting. They were being so careful, they had to go back and actually unredact things that were perfectly fine with being published. Here's another one. This is from Hager. He's also testifying here, right? So I believe he was also from from New Zealand, right? So he was also testifying, and he said that just like Goetz and Sloboda, he said that there was an exhaustive redaction process under Assange, and WikiLeaks had a great level of dedication to the work. So again, a complete lie what he's saying here, this Joe, and then it's over to her, right? To Claire.
This is a pretty simple case. It's very straightforward. And the beauty of a trial, Joe, is that you narrow all of the extraneous stuff to the charges that are there against the defendant. And the charges in this case are that he was trying to hack into our military information that protects not just our country, but all.
Again with the lies. She says the charges in this case, plural, the charges in this case are that he was hacking into our military information. No, they're not. There are 18 charges in the indictment against Assange. 17 of them are under the Espionage Act. He's being, accused of being a spy. And there's one charge under the CFAA, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Although, again, I think they modified it to conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. So, they could assure a conviction. And so that's one charge. And again, it's not even proven. It's a charge, right? So she leaves out the behemoth of the indictment, which is that it's criminalizing journalism. You're trying a publisher as a spy. 17 of the 18 charges are the Espionage Act, and she doesn't say it at all. She says, yeah, he was like hacking into our stuff. God, they're such liars.
All the men and women in uniform around the world. This is really serious stuff. Forget about the politics. The fact that both the right and the left don't like Julian Assange or love Julian Assange, and depending on the circumstances that's being talked about, that should tell you all you need to know. This is really a guy who just violated the law.
What do you mean violated the law? He's not in your fucking country. Are you brain dead? He's not in your country. He doesn't come from your country. What does that mean? He violated the law. He's not from the United States. He doesn't live in the United States. He's never worked in the United States. He never published a document in the United States. How do you violate the law? Your law is not the law in the UK. Your law is not the law in our goddamn country, in the UK or in Australia or wherever it is. You can't just extradite people from anywhere on the planet because they broke the law. He didn't even break the law. If you're actually following the law, Julian Assange has a First Amendment right to publish those documents. And you don't have to be a journalist. You could be a pilot or a plumber or a teacher, or you could be working in a restaurant. I don't care it doesn't matter. There's no special clause for journalists. Everyone has a right to free speech, right? So when they say, oh, Julian Assange is not a journalist, it doesn't matter. He could be a plumber. Under the First Amendment, under your law, which you say he broke the law. No, he didn't. He didn't. He has a First Amendment right to publish those documents. And even then, who said that the U.S. law has to apply to him? What is this? They think other countries are just like, provinces or like counties where they can go and apply U.S. law to them. If she insults Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia wants to extradite her to the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, should people just say, well, you broke the law in Saudi Arabia, so what kind of demented logic is this? They're incredible. They're insane.
And I gotta laugh. If their fight against extradition is that they're worried about his safety in prison, they really don't have perspective on this.
No. Assange's argument is not we're worried about his safety in prison. That's one of the arguments, because the ruling in January forced the case to go down this road. The arguments at the extradition hearing, because I was there, are that this criminalizes the press. It criminalizes journalism. You goddamn liar. That's the argument, the main argument. And then there are the health arguments as well, which must be taken into consideration. And look, pay attention to what she says next. It's absolutely incredible.
There are lots and lots of people who go to federal prison who have done really worse things than Julian Assange, and they are protected in prison.
She's like, hey, we have lots of people going to jail in the U.S. We got 2 million people behind bars. Isn't it a great country? Look at how many people go to federal prison. There's nothing wrong with the federal prison system. What a psychotic woman. She thinks it's good? Like, you're proud of that? You have the biggest prison population on earth? You're proud of this shit? That you have 2 million people behind bars, and then you call other countries authoritarian? You're trying to put a journalist in prison, and you're like, yeah, it's not a bad thing. There are tons of people who go to jail. Yeah, maybe fix that. Maybe you shouldn't have tons of people who go to federal prison. Maybe you shouldn't have the biggest prison population on earth. Have you thought about that? Jesus Christ.
I don't think he needs to worry about whether or not he'll be safe in prison. This is really just a smokescreen to try to keep him from ever being accountable for the rule of law. We started talking about Trump being accountable.
Accountable for the rule of law. Again, what is this? Who said, why does U.S. law apply to the UK or Sweden or wherever, Zimbabwe, whatever country you're in where you publish documents? Who said your law applies there? You think the UK is your province or something? What is this? They're accountable to the rule of law. Okay, you want to hold Julian Assange accountable to the rule of law. What about the people in the documents who are killing civilians? I don't see you on MSNBC whining about them being held to account. Where's the Joe segment about holding war criminals to account? I didn't see it. Does anyone have a link? Because I didn't fucking see it. Man, this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. How can they lie so much in one video? I tried counting the lies and I lost count. I really lost count. I think it was about 8 or 9. Glenn was generous. He focused on the most important ones. But like every single word coming out of their mouth is just, an obscenity, an absolute obscenity, just completely incorrigible, these people. Completely incorrigible. Irredeemable. I mean, the lying about Assange is very, widespread. We know that. But this is really next level. Like, you got to give them props, how they fit so many lies into a 2-minute segment. Wow. Usually the networks focus on 1 or 2 and they just like shit out 10. Wow. Christ, they really worked on this one. They made an effort. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. Every single thing they said was the exact opposite of reality. Literally.